What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to the 2024 Fireside Rangers Halloween special. We're here to do a recap of the first month of the NHL season. We're dressed up in costumes because at the time of this recording, it is the 30th. It'll be out tomorrow on Halloween. I'm your host, Eric Wilson, today dressed as Luigi, the cooler Mario brother. I'm just kidding. Tony's going to be Mario, but he couldn't make it here today. So just know that the costume makes sense if we were all here. Colin, introduce yourself.
Mihominoi, I am Doodle Bob.
Doodle Bob, the most villainous creature in all of Bikini Bottom. And Will, you haven't been here in a while. How you doing? Tell us about what you're dressed up as.
I'm the Rangers practice dummy that they used. There's a video of Capo Caco from the 2021 season where he absolutely rams into the practice dummy, and that's who I am.
Do you have a jersey?
Huh?
Do you have a practice jersey?
Yeah, I got one on Pro Stock Hockey for $105. I was like, dude, that's a steal.
That's $105 that could have gone to literally anything else.
I literally save all my money.
We're here to recap the first month of the Rangers season. So we're going to get right on into this. 9 games in, the Rangers are 6-2-1. They have 13 points, which has them second in the Metropolitan Division. I put on the second glove, so I can't tap the button that says league. So give me 1 second. That has us 7th in the league. Okay. So pretty decent start. I think there have been some games where the Rangers have looked quite dominant and look like a very well-rounded team. I also think there have been games such as last night against the Washington Capitals where we got completely outplayed and outmatched and outscored. So last year when we did the October recap, I feel like the vibes were all positive. It was like a historic month for the Rangers. We still have positive vibes this year, but we're going to throw in a little dash of negative in there while I slowly and unsuccessfully try to put this other glove back on. So while I do this, Colin, my friend, what are your initial thoughts about the Rangers season, 9 games into the year?
I mean, as with everything, I'm always going to be a little nitpicky here and there because we are a team that should be kind of ready for everything here, especially after the way last season ended. I know everybody's hungry. I know the players are too. One positive I'll start with is that the entire team, I feel like, is pretty balanced. You're getting contributions from up and down the lineup. But that third line specifically, we know what we're getting in the second line, or our pseudo first line, really, in Panarin and Chochek and Loff. But that third line has been phenomenal. I mean, I'm looking now, and I didn't know this until today. Will Cooley is tied for second on the team in points. Capo Caco is right there, right behind him with 7. And Hedl also has 7, and they're contributing in a bunch of different ways. I mean, and not to mention, I don't know if this is still true. Have they gotten scored on yet?
No, they are 9-0.
That's crazy.
9 goals for and none against.
That is absurd. And if you look at the teams that have succeeded in the past and gone on to win cups, I know it's early in the season, and you hope that they can keep this pace up. But that third line is essential. It's a forechecking line. It's a great defensive line, but if you can get them to start contributing as well, I mean, other teams should be worried.
I'd be a little worried too. I will say, before the season started, I didn't say it in a video, but I did say it in an article over on empiresportsmedia.com. If you want to check out my articles, my predictions for the season, I did label as my breakout player of the year, Will Cooley and Keandre Miller. I think Cooley was my offensive one. Miller's my defensive one. So happy to see the third line stand out. Even Kako and Phil. I love that line. Probably the best line on our team, if not one of the best lines in the entire NHL at the moment. But Will, welcome back, man. I feel like I got to say that again. You haven't been here in so long because your Wi-Fi got you shadow banned from the channel.
I'm low-key. I can't lie. I was cooked. Like, my Wi-Fi was so bad. I don't even want to talk about that. That was a dark time. We were in the dark ages. I was down bad. I can't lie with you, but
hey, it happens. But you fixed the Wi-Fi. We're back. I know you being a very massive Yankees fan, you might not have been paying as close attention to the Rangers as we have so far, but you've been watching a little bit. You know what's been going on. How are you feeling?
Overall, I like how the offense is playing at 5v5. I think this is the best start that they've had to the year at 5v5. I know last year it really wasn't the same. They had that one game against the Sabres on opening night, and after that, it went to we didn't see it again. Sorry, we didn't see it again. This year, what are we in game 9, and the offense at 5v5 looks like it's continuing to do well. It's pretty shocking. But on the other hand, the team defense doesn't look that great, especially in last night's loss to the Capitals. I don't even want to talk about that. That was horrible. But overall, you're getting contributions from the top 6, the bottom 6, Philip, the Hedel line. I mean, it's like Colin said, it's a balanced attack. And if this can keep up, team should be worried.
I agree. There is one negative from the team that I would like to discuss right away. The defense is something that I do want to touch upon in a little bit. But the biggest one to me that stands out that I think needs to be addressed right away is Mika Zibanejad. You know, I get it. He has 9 points in 9 games. He's playing at a point per game race. 2 goals, 7 assists. Like, the goal scoring isn't really there. Last night against Washington, I got very upset. The Rangers were on a power play. He ripped a one-timer shot like 3 times back to back to back. And like 2 of them he missed the net, and 1 was just like right at the goalie's chest. Like, Mika's like a one-trick pony. It's really frustrating. I've always, no, not always, but last summer heading into the season, have been an advocate of removing him from the first power play and giving Lafreniere the shot up there. I think it would benefit Lafreniere and bring more balance to the power play units. I know Zibanejad typically starts out a little slow and then picks things up later on in the year. He didn't last year. I'm scared it might not happen again. I saw his minutes have been decreased by a little bit. He was whining and complaining about that, like, boo-hoo. Starts playing better, and then you'll get your minutes back. I don't know. I love Mika. I'm a little upset with him right now and a little underwhelmed. And I'm just hoping and praying that he will start to bounce back and make up for the last season and 9 games worth of what I would consider, despite being point per game, mediocre hockey for a guy that is supposed to be our 1C and makes $8.5 million. But I could be called crazy for that. Don't blame me. Blame Luigi. I'm not me when I'm Luigi. But I don't know how y'all feel.
I say I don't totally disagree with you. I think he's been a little lackluster to start the season. Obviously, I was a big defender of Mika last season. His 5-on-5 play was terrible, and he kind of disappeared in the playoffs, even though he's still, again, a point per game. And this season, it just feels kind of similar. I know 7 points in 9 games is nothing really to scratch out. Like, it's not bad, but you want to see him, converting on those chances, especially on the power play, because there is Lafreniere knocking on the door. And me and Will talked about this in the group chat, actually, how, Lafreniere should be getting PP one time, but it's tough because the Rangers power play has been the most efficient over the last 3 years. And I don't even think it's close. So it's how do you really call on them to change it? Not to mention the chemistry that he has with Kreider in front of the net, where he can shot past it a lot when a lot of times you'd think he would rip it. I think they scored one last night just like that. So, there's a lot of things that go into it, on top of the fact that you'd like to have 2 centers on that first pair. In case Trocheck somehow gets chased, you'd like to have another guy who's capable of winning the faceoffs. Not that none of the wingers can, but obviously a center has a better time because they do it much more often. But yeah, you definitely like to see him do a little bit better. I feel like the addition of Riley Smith is still kind of kicking in. I liked what I've seen from him a lot. And I think once Kreider gets going on the assists too, he has 6 points and they're all goals. I think once you start seeing him look to pass more and maybe not just be potting it as much, it'll start to open up for Zibanejad as he continues to score, obviously. I think that Ryan is still kind of finding their footing. But I think that they'll turn it around sooner versus later. I don't think they're playing bad by any means. I just think that they could be playing better.
I agree. I don't know, Will. Where are you on this?
I mean, it's another slow start to the season for him, and especially at 5v5, and that's where most hockey's played, and he's just not effective at 5v5. That's why we saw his minutes decline. And his line's minute, it's not even just his minutes, it's his whole line's minutes at 5v5 have declined. I think that they are now third. I think it goes Panarin's line, then the Cooley Hedel Kako line second, and then Mika's line. At some point, you got to ramp it up. Like, I know he starts off slow to the season, but you're supposed to be a 1C. You're making $8.5 million. Like, you got to ramp up. And I know that you're going to complain about your ice time because you're the team's 1C. Like, you shouldn't be having your minutes cut. But you're not playing like you should have more minutes. You're playing like you should be on the fourth line. That's my take on it. And I think Ranger fans are frustrated because they know Mika can be an elite 1C. And he's not showing it. He shies away from contact. He likes to do one thing, and that's just sit on the power play and score from Ovi's office. But
also, let me interject. You say he can be an elite 1C. I don't think he's been an elite 1C for like 3 seasons. Like,
I know, but I still
can he though? Like, can he even anymore? Like,
maybe not elite, but okay, let's say like a good 1C.
3 seasons. 3 seasons. Absolutely crazy.
Like the year that we lost in the conference finals to Tampa, that was 2022. So like I think that was his last like elite season. So 2 years, not 3.
I was gonna say the season after that,
he had 91 points the year after that. He had 90 plus.
Yeah, 21-22 we lost to the Lightning. 22-23 we lost to the Devils. That year he had 91 points in 82 games. Almost
but 91 points total. Like, how many of them are on the power play? Probably like most of them. And there's a whole lot more to hockey than just points.
Exactly.
It's like same thing with Panarin. Yeah, sure, Panarin hit 120 points last season, but he still didn't do anything in the playoffs besides like 1 or 2 big goals. Like we still
16 points.
Yeah, but I can still critique his game.
Of course.
30% of those points out of those 91 were on the power play.
Like, put me out on the ice, I'm contributing.
I mean, I guess you can say Panarin was contributing by opening. I mean, he was drawing defenders towards him, so it opens up the rest of the ice for Trocheck and Lafreniere. I guess you can say that.
That is fair, and it worked for a while during the playoffs last year until we came across the brick wall that was Florida.
They're good.
How unfortunate, but speaking of Panarin and his line. Let's talk about something positive. It's Halloween. Let's get happy. Alexis Lafreniere. Yesterday, I was able to quickly put together a solo episode recapping and giving my thoughts on his new contract because he's looking amazing. But obviously, it was a solo episode. You two were not able to be there. I would like to give you the opportunity to talk about this contract, what it means for the team, all that mumbo jumbo. And I don't care who goes first. I'm Luigi.
Well, you can take this one.
I thought it was a very good contract for him because I know we talked about it in the summer and I know we talked about it in late August or a little bit before the season started that I thought he was going to get 8x8. I thought that was a fair deal for him. Obviously, would he get 7 by 7.45 or something around there?
Like that.
But he looks like a completely different player. I mean, last year in the playoffs, and the first half of the season was good for him, but the second half of the season and into the playoffs is really where he started. You really started to see the Lafreniere we were promised coming out of the QMJHL. I mean, he was dry. He played perfectly against the Florida Panthers. He had them played perfectly. He was driving play. It wasn't just like he was a trailer. He was driving play, and he's continuing to do that. He's putting up points, putting up goals. He's still facilitating. It's not just because he's on a line with Panarin and Trocheck. No, he's contributing to their points just as much as they're contributing to his. So the growth in his game has been unreal. I was super hard on him before going into last season. I mean, he had no points in 7 games against the Devils, and then last year has 14 in 16 games. He's a gamer. The kid's a gamer. And to see him be rewarded with a contract like that, it makes me pretty happy.
That's crazy. Will, apologies to anyone that watched my solo episode and then watched this. because they pretty much just heard verbatim like the exact same
Are you
thing.
kidding me, man?
No, but it's good points. That's why I said it. I'm Luigi. Colin. Oh no.
I think the the most impressive thing about his campaign so far this season, 4 goals, 4 assists, extremely balanced. So 8 points in 9 games for those who struggle with math. All of them at even strength. Every single one. Obviously, he's not getting power play one time, but the fact that he's able to drive that offense and nearly be a point per game player, same as Will Cooley, have that many points at even strength is just, it bodes so well for the Rangers that 2 of their youngest players, one now under contract for the next 7 years, is producing so highly at 5-on-5. I mean, it's phenomenal what he's been able to do with his game. I think you made a great point in saying that he's able to drive offense on his own as opposed to being the trailer. It used to be Panarin. Panarin would go in, stop along the boards, and look for him. Now he's, coming into the zone. He's catching the pucks out of the air and making the quick first pass. He's making the nice move, toe drag, and shot 5-hole against Jari. He's doing it all. I think his defense could be a little better. He's one of 3 players on the team that's negative. That would be my only critique. He's still so young, and I'm not really putting that fully on him because his line is known not to be the best defensively as it is. But, I mean, he's just been – you're right. He's taken that next step. I think a gamer is the perfect way to describe him just because of how big of a contributor he's become on this team so far this season.
He's a gamer. You heard it here first. I'm gonna pass the steering wheel to Doodle Bob. Doodle Bob, Mahoy Minoy. We've talked about a couple players thus far. Is there any standout players to you, whether positive, negative, that you think needs to be discussed?
I have a positive, and it was a shock to me to even pick this player, but I will say Victor Mancini has been playing at an incredibly high level for how young he is, and being this is only his 8th game of NHL action. He's got 4 points, 1 goal, 3 assists. He's a +4. He looks good out there. I think he looks really, really solid. I wish I could say the same thing for the whole decor. There's definitely been a little bit of lack, especially these last 3 games. But I think that he's looked very good in his limited action so far. And, obviously I feel bad for Zach Jones and Chad Ruhwedel, more Zach Jones than anybody, just because he finally thought this is my time. And now Mancini's kind of just stepped in and he's been playing at a high level. That's just the way it goes. Sometimes you find these gems, and we're lucky enough to have found a gem in the preseason and training camp in Mancini, and he's been a real big part of that decor.
It's like a running gag at this point with the Rangers, where like every year they're like holding the football for Charlie Brown, where it's just Zach Jones in a spot in the lineup. They just yank it away at the last second every single year. It's like that's what's going to happen with Brendan Othman too, But on Mancini, I'm pretty much impressed by his personal play. Like a very nice surprise heading into the off season this past summer. I don't think I'd ever heard the name Victor Mancini, and I love the fact that I'm at a point in my life now where I probably say his name, or at least type out his name, like almost every single day. I think he's a pretty talented young kid, and he's going to have a bright future. Will, I'll let you give your thoughts on Mancini thus far too, but it is a good segue into the defense and what's been going on there. So, Will, give me your thoughts on Mancini, and then I'll just let you segue us right into that defensive play that we've been waiting to chat about.
I like Mancini. That kid has a heavy shot. I mean, he can unload pucks. I think there's sometimes where you're watching him and you can tell that he's a rookie, which, I mean, duh, it's the NHL. Like, it's gonna be hard. It's not the same. It's not the same as the AHL. But I think overall, he was a 5th-round pick. Like, this kid coming onto the spot in training camp, no one really knows his name, and all of a sudden makes a name for himself. He's in the starting lineup on opening night, continues to prove himself well, has his first goal taken away, then gets another one against the Red Wings. But he has been solid, and he's a young, 22 years old? He's a young kid. And a lot of people were worried about the Rangers' depth at decor prospect-wise. So having a guy like Mancini make a name for himself and contribute in a lot of positive ways for this team early on in the season, it feels really nice, because like you said, Eric, coming into the training camp, I did not know who he was, and I will fully admit that.
Yeah, I don't think many Rangers fans did. On the defense as a whole, I'm going to leave my thoughts quite brief because I feel like we're all going to be mostly in agreement between the three of us and like 90% of Rangers fans out there. Jacob Trouba, I'll start with him. For the most part, he's forgiven. I think he's been playing some of the best hockey he ever has in his time as a New York Ranger. I don't want to get a little too ahead of myself. I'm saying he's fully forgiven for what happened last season, but overall, not bad. He's had a few flashes in the first 9 games of this year where I'm like, oh God, he's falling apart again. But overall, I'm impressed, and this will be my formal apology to Jacob Trouba. In my Luigi costume. I'm sorry, man. You're proving me wrong. I'm happy you weren't traded at this point. That may switch if you have a bad game the next time we play, though, Trouba. So don't relax yet. I'm still watching you. Ryan Lindgren, he's played in like 2 games. I don't think he should be playing. I don't think he's fully healthy. The Miller-Fox pairing, I think, looked really good up until that game against Washington. In that game against Washington, they now have me questioning like everything about that defensive pair because they got lit up. It was bad. Like they looked terrible. So hopefully that was just like a momentary lapse and they're just going to go back to looking fine. But we'll see how it progresses. Overall with the defense, I'm like 50-50. I don't think I can say I'm impressed, but I don't think I can also say I'm disappointed. I'm just like it just flip-flops every game. I just need some consistency from you, and I will be happy. But, yeah, that's my thoughts on the defense. I'm Luigi.
I will say the biggest thing, you say consistency, we'd like consistency from them. I think they would like a little consistency as well. And I think the biggest thing is and the thing that's hampering them the most is the fact that there's a different pair on that third pair every time. I never really question what Laviolette does. But rotating the defensemen this early on and not allowing them to build any chemistry is kind of hurting them, in my opinion. I think it's different when you're playing with somebody new each night. Obviously, that top four has been staying the same. But, like, Ryan Lindgren really hasn't looked too good since coming back. I also think he rushed back and he wasn't needed to. I think K'Andre Miller hasn't looked as good as he should. Ironically, I think that the Schneider-Trouba pairing has been our best pairing. And the numbers kind of back that up. Schneider's a +8 and Trouba's a +6. So I think that's a Fox is only a +1 as is Miller. Lindgren is a even flat 0. So it's Mancini's a +4, so he's just around. But like, I don't know. I haven't really loved what I've seen. I don't understand fully why we're continuing to split up Lindgren and Fox if they were so good together in the past, and if Lindgren's back and actually ready to play, why he wouldn't just have them back together. I don't really love the rotating of the defense, as I've previously said. Get it. That's what I do with my fantasy football lineup. That's what he should do with the regular lineup. It's a lot easier to kind of figure out where your partner likes to play when you have one partner. We always said that for Braden Schneider, it was the toughest thing for him, how he was playing with a different person each line or each game, and how he went through a revolving door of line mates his first 2 seasons. And that was kind of why he was struggling to find his footing. I think now that he's got a consistent partner, he's finally found that footing. He's looked good even throughout, but I feel like now he's really taking his game to that next level. And he's also starting to contribute on offense a little bit, 2 goals, 2 assists. But he just looks solid in his own zone, laying big hits and things like that. So, it's definitely a positive sign from him. But as a whole, I think that the defense just needs to I think since really it was that Panthers game is what opened my eyes. The Panthers game was bad. Then the Ducks game was sketchy, not on the defense, but as a team as a whole. And then that last game against the Capitals was unwatchable. It was unwatchable.
I will say I didn't watch it. I watched like half of it because I kept flipping between that and the Yankees. Yeah, it was that bad that I had to watch 2024 playoff Aaron Judge instead. So
yeah, no, I mean it was ugly. It was ugly. I didn't get a chance to watch the full thing. I watched the highlights. I did have a game last night. I also was tuning into the Yankees when I could. But it was bad. That first period specifically was atrocious. There's plenty of season left. We're only an eighth of the way through. So you have a whole lot of time left to turn that around and right the ship. And I think that Laviolette needs to stop tinkering so much and kind of just figure out what he likes and let it go.
I agree. Will, I'll let you share your thoughts on the overall defense, and then we'll get into our final grades for the month of October.
They have their times where they look very good. They're playing relaxed. They're doing everything right. And then there's times where it's just like my mind explodes because I have no clue what's going on. Like, it's just super inconsistent. And like Colin said, the pairings are inconsistent too. They're not the same every night with the third pair. And I know it's early in the season, and you kind of want to, before it gets too late, obviously you want to see like what you have and what you don't have, what works, what doesn't work. But I think for the defense, you can't get into a rhythm. You don't know your partner. Like, okay, yeah, you practice with him, but if it's changing every night, let's say Zach Jones comes in with Braden Schneider, he hasn't played with him in a couple games. It might not work out because they don't know how in game they don't know how to play with each other again. They have to figure it out. But that game against the Capitals last night, that was
We don't have to talk about it.
I know that was just
the dummies getting a little upset. We don't have to dive too deep into it.
I'm sorry, Luigi.
And anyone who watched the game knows I'm a little upset too. But guys, I didn't like that game. That was not a fun game to watch.
You can't see behind that mustache.
Hmm?
You can't see a frown behind the mustache.
I can't believe you said that.
Look, there was see, now I've lost my train of thought because you guys made me laugh. There's been a lot that has happened throughout the first 9 games. We could sit here and talk about every single player on the roster, every single little thing. Even though it is the Halloween special, we do want to make it a reasonable runtime so you guys watching are able to sit and enjoy it without making it like a full feature-length movie. So if there's any players or topics that we didn't get to touch upon in this episode, leave them down in the comment section below, and if we like them, we'll probably dedicate an own episode to that. So before we do wrap it up, though, the final thing we do have to do is give our Dave Portnoy 1-bite review rankings. In the 9 games that I've watched, my initial rating is, and this is like a Dave Portnoy scale, so like a 7 is good. And like a 6.5 is like good. I'm gonna go with like a 7.4. I don't know how y'all feel. I was the first one to go, so I don't really know what the vibes are. But I stand by it. Feel free to give a ridiculous score, and I'll.
I was gonna give a 7.3. Like I think there's a lot more, in my opinion. I feel like there's more positives than negatives. But the negatives are loud. They're loud negatives. Obviously, the deep pairs.
I mean, like I said, Dave Portnoy scale. Like if I was still in school and I got like a 74 on a test, I'd probably be grounded. But like on the Dave Portnoy scale, a 7.4, that's good.
Yeah. So I give him a 7.3. I think, like I said, the negatives are loud, but there's a lot of positives, such as the offense playing very well at 5v5, and it's being sustained through the first 9 games. So, yeah, 7.3.
All right, 7.4, 7.3. Doodle Bob.
I was actually thinking like a 7.9.
Yeah, I mean, I could agree with that.
Big baller over here.
I thought that their play. I mean, we only witnessed their second regulation loss of the season last night, and while it was ugly, and while the other one was also ugly against the Panthers, I think they've looked very good so far this season. Like I said, the last 3 games have been a little bit of cause for concern, but I'm not super worried about it. I mean, they've looked downright dominant in a lot of their wins. I pulled up the schedule in front of me. I mean, the Penguins, that game was a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Utah game was a little sketchy, but some questionable reffing, was definitely brought there. The Red Wings, they owned them in back-to-back games. The Maple Leafs, they owned. The Canadians, they owned. They scored a touchdown on them. I haven't seen the Jets do that consistently, but I watched the Rangers do it, so that's pretty cool. And then, the Panthers was their first true test. They kind of dropped the ball and close to against the Ducks, but they got at the W. in a gritty win against a team that also just beat the Islanders. So maybe they aren't as bad as we think. Who knows? They got a lot of good young players over there. And then obviously last night is a game that you'd love to win, drop to a division rival. But it happens. You're not going to win all 82 games. You're just not. And the Capitals aren't really a bad team either. They're off to an extremely hot start as well, I believe. They're right behind us with the same record. They have one less loss because they played one less game. So they're playing at just as high of a level as we are. And
they added some good names during the offseason too.
Yeah, no, I know.
They revamped their team in the offseason.
They do look good. So, I mean, the two losses are to two good teams. Obviously, you want to see them start turning those into W's because come playoff time, it's only going to be good teams. But I'm not worried too much about it yet. It's really 3 games that I'm concerned about. So, in the large and short, it's nothing really to fret about. That's why I'm not.
I agree.
But that's just me.
I guess the one thing I did forget to do, because Will, this is your first time back this season. I need you to drop a season-long parlay really quick.
Oh God,
you have 30 seconds to.
Oh gee, all right. Partake and Aaron 150 points over. Lafreniere over 50 goals, 60 goals, over 70 goals, and Jonathan Quick over 8 shutouts.
Love it.
That's more tame than I was expecting, but you heard it here first. If you like making money, Will just vouched.
Wait, I got one more.
Oh,
Matt Rempe over 184 fights.
I like it. There we go. So put your house on it. Put your mortgage on it. Put your life savings on it. If it loses, Will is gonna pay for it. He told me in a private chat just now. But that about wraps up the 2024 Fireside Rangers Halloween special. It's the second year that we've been doing this. The first one was kind of weird.
I went as a construction worker last year. And
I think our costumes this year are better.
Stepped it up, I think.
Not mine.
I feel like I got worse, but you two definitely got better.
Yeah, I think last time the only thing I wore was a construction hat, and then I just had a sweatshirt on.
I think I was.
You're the guy from Dodgeball.
If you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball. Anyway.
Yeah. But thank you to everybody that tuned in. Sorry, I forgot I was kind of doing an outro there. If you guys did enjoy, please like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss notification. We talked about a lot of things today. So leave your thoughts on all those down in the comment section below, as well as any future videos you would like to see us make throughout the rest of this year. Lastly, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers. I hope you all have a happy and safe Halloween. I'm assuming this will be posted early on like noon on Halloween. So before all the festivities begin, stay safe out there, Fireside family. Have a great Halloween. And let's go Rangers.